Hey, hi all, Randy Roth here. Hey, today we're going to talk about the time of Jacob's trouble. So often we're told that this time is a 7-year period of time, and it's the buzzword to say, hey, look, it's the time of Jacob's trouble. And yet the foundations of this period of time are not discussed. We're told that it's this futuristic time, and yet what does the prophecy actually state? Let's take a look. It's found in Jeremiah chapter 30 and 31. However, when we're told the time of Jacob's trouble, it's found in verse 7 of Jeremiah 30. And so this worst time ever for Israel is mentioned 4 times in Scripture. It's found in Joel 2, it's found in Matthew 24, it's found in Daniel 12. And so we got this worst time ever, and there's this time like it that no time in the future will ever match it. So it's this, you can't have anything more worse than this period of time. If we look at this passage of Jeremiah 30 and 31, we find that in verse 10 and 11 that Israel is scattered to the nations. And it talks about this scattering throughout Jeremiah 30. And then we see in Jeremiah 31:8 that she is gathered. And it mentions that she's gathered partially from the north country. See, Israel was scattered to the nations starting around 66 AD when Titus made this covenant with the Roman Empire, the Roman Senate, to squelch the Jewish uprising. And he went and had this 7-year war known as the Roman Jewish War or Jewish uprising. And in the middle of that 7-year period of time, middle of that week, the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, in which the sacrifices and offerings ended. So we could discuss also Daniel's 70th week as well, because we're told that that too is this futuristic period of time, but we're totally ignored. But in doing so, it's totally ignored the fact that the sacrifices and offerings ended in the middle of a 7-year week, 7-year period of time, and that prophecy of Daniel's 70th week is totally fulfilled. It's found in Daniel 9, verse 26, 27. Look at verse 24 through 27. It gives you the context for it. Anyway, so back to the Daniel, to the time of Jacob's trouble, which is found in Jeremiah. So we have this worst time ever mentioned. During the time that Israel was scattered to the nations, the Jewish Diaspora, which a scattering to the nations is called a diaspora. I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing that right, but a diaspora, scattering to the nations, is what happened in 66 AD, and she later got her land back in 1948. Remember, I mentioned that she was gathered partially from the north country. Well, after 1948, in the 1970s, Russia opened her doors for the Jews to return to Israel. And a third of the population of Israel is Russian-speaking for that purpose. And in fact, Russia kicked them all out. It says, you're Jew, you go back. You need to go back. This is your opportunity. And so that happened. The North country mentioned there shows that the Israel's return from Russia. Okay, so it's the worst time ever. What makes it the worst time ever? 12 million Jews were killed during this period of time. We know that 6 million were killed by the Nazis. That's more recent history. The numbers are unclear during the Roman time. Some say 3 million, some say much more. But there was various inquisitions in the interim as well. There's a Spanish Inquisition in the what is it, 10 AD 10 or 1000, like 70 or so. There was multiple inquisitions throughout Europe because of the scattering of these Jews throughout that area. So what we have is we have this worst time ever where 12 million Jews are killed. And today, only 6.5 million Jews live in Israel itself. And so to say, hey, there's this worst time ever that could happen at any time with Israel, well, that is an impossibility. For the population of Israel would have to be like 5 times as much as what it currently is, and perhaps more. So to suggest that the time of Jacob's trouble is a futuristic 7-year period of time, there is no scripture that even remotely suggests that, and history makes that an impossibility. All right. Hope that is helpful. Take care.